Hi there everyone and welcome to Tech Cravers. In today's video we're exploring a peculiar yet charming handheld device. And the first oddity to note is that it's sold as the M18 retroportable handheld game console, not mentioning M18 anywhere on the box. Adding to the peculiarity, the guarantee section on the back mentions that over 30 copyrighted games are pre-installed, actually exceeding 20,000, but absolves responsibility if users opt to add their own games. Additionally, while the device claims to have 4GB of RAM on the back, it actually has 1GB, but more on the specifications shortly. Before delving into the details, let's first discuss the most bizarre yet intriguing aspect of this handheld. But before that, just as always, let's roll the intro. And for any regular viewers of my channel or any retro handheld enthusiast in general, the unboxing experience of the M18 is gonna be very familiar. We get the device itself, and underneath it we get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, as well as a small quick start guide in both Chinese and English. But now let's talk about the handheld itself, which is the last quirky thing I mentioned earlier. While vertical handhelds aren't exactly uncommon, what sets this one apart is its widescreen display with a 3:2 aspect ratio. Typically, widescreens are more commonly found on horizontal handhelds, making this departure from the norm. So the big question is, should this widescreen design become the new standard for vertical handhelds as well? Why don't you let me know in a comment down below and I will pin the best comment to this video. This unique combination of vertical form factor and widescreen display is quite intriguing, and at least it got me thinking about the potential impact it could have on the world of handheld gaming. Well, maybe this handheld isn't exactly breaking new ground, but it's interesting to see that SJGAM, if that's even the manufacturer, is trying something different here. But now, before we move forward in this video, I'd like to go over the specifications of this device. As for the CPU, we're equipped with the RK3566, a quad-core processor that's been featured in numerous devices before. Coupled with that CPU is the Mali G52 GPU. And moving on to memory, we have 1GB of RAM, which might sound modest, but it's sufficient since we're running on the Linux-based EmuELEC 4.3 OS. In terms of display, we have a 4.3-inch LCD screen with the resolution of 480 by 272 and a 3:2 aspect ratio. The built-in storage is 4GB, but the micro SD slot supports cards up to 128GB. This device came with a 64GB card preloaded with games, but as always, it's recommended to use your own card with your own game dumps. The battery capacity is 4000 mAh, providing ample power for extended gaming sessions, and additionally, the device boasts support for over 30 different languages, enhancing its accessibility and user friendliness. I realized that I previously mentioned that the display was the last quirky aspect of this handheld, but there are a few other features worth discussing as well. However, before diving into those, I just want to express how impressed I am with the quality of the controls, from the action buttons to the analog sticks and the D-pad, as well as the shoulder buttons. Everything feels solid and responsive. Moreover, the handheld itself feels remarkably comfortable in my hands, with well-designed grips on the back that provide support for users with larger hands as well. The placement of the shoulder buttons is particularly ergonomic, allowing my index fingers to rest comfortably on top of them. Overall, the handheld offers a satisfying tactile experience that enhances gameplay enjoyment. The M18 is a quite large vertical handheld without ever feeling too big. However, next to other handhelds like the RG405V and the RG353V, both from Anbernic, we get a good understanding of its overall big size though. Not to mention how massive it is compared to the even smaller Miyoo Mini Plus and the tiny pocketable king, the Miyoo Mini. As you probably already have seen, the developers of the M18 has opted to position the analog stick above the D-pad, which is ideal for games that prioritize analog stick controls. However, it's worth noting that the RK3566 chipset in the M18 handheld may struggle to even run N64 games. Therefore, it's important to consider this limitation before deciding to make a purchase. Before we delve into some actual emulation performance of this device, I'd like to highlight one final peculiar feature, and I promise it's the last one. And that is the placement of the volume buttons, which are located on the front of the device rather than on the more typical location on the side. Despite the select and start buttons being clearly labeled, I often find myself accidentally pressing the plus button when attempting to access the start menu. Now let's dive into some gaming, beginning with PSP emulation. Overall, most games run fairly smoothly and provide an enjoyable experience on the M18. However, more demanding titles, such as God of War Chains of Olympus, suffer from rendering issues and require heavy frame skipping to maintain playability. It's important to note that there's no option to configure settings directly from within the device itself. Users must settle for the pre-configured settings provided. Additionally, due to the widescreen display, some of your beloved retro favorites may appear slightly stretched, altering their original aspect ratio. I was quite disappointed to see N64 emulation perform so poorly on this device. Some games run decently but with choppy audio, while others can barely start. This is mainly due to poorly optimized emulation cores, and I would like to have seen a smoother way to switch to a better optimized emulator for this CPU. Fortunately, retro games like GBA, SNES and PlayStation work perfectly on the M18. Despite the washed out appearance of the screen and colors in this footage, I can confirm that it looks really sharp, colorful and sleek in real life. Alright, summarizing my thoughts on the M18 retro portable handheld game console. Let's start with the negatives, what I don't like. Lack of in-game settings, not being able to tweak emulator settings as desired is a significant drawback. Front-facing volume buttons, having them positioned on the front feels unconventional and unappealing. Analog stick placement. For a device capable of emulating games up to and including PlayStation, having D-pad on top would be preferable. Moving on to the positives, what I like. Ease of use. It's one of the most user-friendly devices I've ever tested. Everything works out of the box and it's intuitive, making it suitable even for younger users. Screen quality. Despite the unconventional aspect ratio, the widescreen format offers a good display with nice resolution and vibrant colors. Price. The device is available for just $70 from Lit NXT if you use the code M18 at checkout, which is an exceptional value for a device of this caliber. Overall, despite a few drawbacks, the M18 offers great usability, a decent screen and almost unbeatable price point, making it a compelling option for gaming enthusiasts. And that concludes my review of the M18 Retro Handheld. I hope that you enjoyed watching it and that it might have helped you decide whether it's worth your money or not. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if it did, and also leave a comment down below what you think of widescreen displays on vertical handhelds. Don't forget to subscribe to Tech Ravers for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, Tech Ravers out.